All right, it's another week. We have another list of like 20 shrinkflation stories to talk about. There's a lot going on as usual. The shrinkflation continues and gets worse. And we're going to start off with your friend and mine, the number one, perhaps in my mind, most hated company in the grocery market nowadays. And that is Tyson, who we started with last week. Because they not only reduced the size of the family pack, they reduced the regular pack, which we can see here has gone from 32 ounces to 29. And they redid all the packaging on their products to look a little bit nicer, I guess. I don't know if that's better or not. I mean, the old packaging was actually pretty shitty. So I do think this is better packaging technically, but that's not the problem. The problem is right here. So this is from some grocery store. I don't know which one exactly, but shout out to whoever took this picture. And you can see exactly what's going on here. 70.4 ounces to 64 ounces. That's the one I talked about last week. So we got 32 to 29 for the other size. Then the chicken patties are also being reduced by 3 ounces, 3 ounces, and 5.2 ounces. And of course, chicken fries are getting reduced from 28 ounces, 28.05 ounces to 26.5 ounces, which at this point, I don't know why anybody on earth would ever buy Tyson Chicken anymore, because it's been trash for at least a decade. Like, I think COVID kind of like jumped it up because like post 2020, every single kind of Tyson chicken product I've tried has been dog shit. Like, I used to like Tyson chicken strips, but now they're all gristle and fat. Like, they don't really taste like real chicken anymore. That's why I generally get the Just Bare chicken now, which is frankly too expensive. And they sell it at like Sam's Club and Costco, but is actual real chicken. So I'm willing to pay a little bit more for that, but I'm watching them too, you guys. So if Simply Bare tries to pull something, which they already have, they've raised prices many times in the past. But at least they keep the quality. That's the important part. So Tyson, again, reduced amount, reduced quality, and more expensive price. Don't buy it. But now we got to move on to Target, everybody's favorite store, the suburban housewives mecca, Target, which has not only lowered the fluid ounces in here from 100 to 92, and this is for laundry detergent. They lowered that. At least they kept up with the loads, and they reduced it from 64 to 58, unlike Tide. But they also raised the price significantly. So for 8 ounces less, you're paying about 25%, maybe closer to 30% more for the same product. And then, of course, you come down here, Up and Up is fucking right is a great first comment. So shout out to that guy, Cyber Insecurity. And shout out to not Target. So stop buying Target products. Or at least keep an eye out because they're fucking you. Now, this one really hurt me because Annie's is a company that I've defended in the past. I like their products, or I did. And I liked them as a company. I liked the idea of Annie's. It was a brand I liked and I trusted. But now I can't trust them anymore because this is not only shrinkflation, this is, according to them, skimpflation. And what it is a change of the product to make it markedly worse. Now, I haven't tried the new one. This person has. But you can tell that the ingredients are different. So, the old ingredients, we have organic pasta, dried cheddar cheese, whey butter, blah, blah, blah. As you can see, okay, let's see. Where's the difference? Butter, pasteurized cream. So the old one went from dried cheddar cheese, whey, then butter, pasteurized cream, salt, non-fat milk, and salt. And the new one goes whey, salt, cornstarch, sodium phosphate, which was already in the other one, lactic acid. So they've essentially replaced all the actual dairy products, the cream and the butter, the things that made Annie's a natural organic product. Like, isn't that the whole point of Annie's, is that you don't get this kind of bullshit? I thought that was the idea of the product. It's insane. I remember being introduced to Annie's in 1995, bought it often. Then they went public and got bought by General Mills. Interesting. So this guy's got the history. Okay, founded 1989, 35 years ago. Now, when did they get bought out? In 2002, Solera became a major investor. In 2005, the company bought out Annie's Naturals. The majority of Annie's stock was owned by Solera Capital in 2011. In 2012, Annie's introduced certified whatever. General Mills acquired Annie's on September 8th, 2014 for $820 million. Okay. So 10 years ago is when we lost Annie, but it's only caught up to us now. But that's the moral of the lesson here. Everybody like me who trusted Annie's as a good product and kind of always saw it as a nice company, it's not. It's a trash company that is now owned by General Mills, and you should just not buy it ever again. Now, this is an interesting story that was on the Reddit that I clicked through. Brooklyn woman suing Subway, claims steak and cheese sandwich and ad has 200% more meat, which is 100% true, as you can see by this picture. And I mean, the actual steak and cheese receipt picture is not even like that off. You know what I mean? That looks like what you would actually get at Subway. That looks like a steak and cheese I've got in the past. You have to literally open it up to see the steak because they don't really fill it out. Whereas they're advertising it like overflowing with steak and cheese like this. It's 100% true. This is not correct advertising. And I wish her luck, and I wish Anthony Russo, her lawyer from the Russo firm, luck, because he talks a little bit about in this story about how he's sued many companies, but a lot of the cases get dismissed before they can even reach a jury by judges. Which I think is bullshit. They should push these things through and really hold these companies accountable. But of course, we live in the real world where that will never happen. So let's move on. Thank you again. Shout out to Anthony Russo fighting the good fight. Fruit Smiles, fruit gummies, whatever you want to call them. They're not good for you. They're not good for your kids. I'm sure everybody knows that. I like them still. Many adults do. So sometimes you buy them. But not anymore. I think we're going to pass on Great Value Fruit Smiles from now on, which I have bought many times because they're the cheapest fruit gummies, really, at Walmart. Because not only are they smaller, they went from 0.9 ounces to 0.8 ounces in the box, but they changed the ingredients. Now, let's look at this. Which one? This is the new one. Okay, this is the old one. Sugar, corn syrup, modified food starch, apple juice concentrate, cornstarch, canola oil, citric acid, blah, blah, blah. And then we've got sugar, corn syrup, food starch, modified apple juice concentrate, and then pea starch. So what happened was they've switched from cornstarch to pea starch, which I guess must be cheaper. But apparently, according to people in the comments, the texture is 100% terrible now. I'm saving the last good packet for a rainy day, so that's no good. I want to skip over this one for now. We're going to get to this story at the end because it's going to be the most interesting story and something I want to talk about. Let's quickly go over the rest of these, though, so everybody can keep up with what's been shrinkflated. Again, food isn't the only thing. Parents' Choice Diapers, which is the Walmart brand, have just gotten shittier and smaller, which is nice. Still come with the same amount in the package. It's just the product itself is genuinely shittier and worse. And smaller, as you can see. The old box is on the right, the new is on the left. Interesting part, the old box has new and improved. So that means they changed it before, and now they've changed it again, so they can't put, I guess they decided to drop the new and improved to differentiate it. I don't know, but it is just a markedly worse product, and if you've ever had to change a diaper, which I've had the fortune of only having to do a few times for my niece, but every time was a tragedy. And having less absorption is ridiculous for a diaper, and it's especially hurtful for it to be Parents' Choice, which were the diapers I had to buy because I was broke. I mean, I bought diapers. I've bought these diapers for my niece many times years back because they were the cheapest diapers at Walmart, Parents' Choice. These were the only ones poor people can get, and now they're fucked with an even shittier product, which really pisses me off. Next one, I want to make a quick point of this. Somebody on the subreddit here, Koala Meth, which is a funny name. I just want to say I get the sentiment for putting this out here. Bluebell out here keeping it real. Still sucks I even need to say this, but given continual shrinkflation, at least these guys are keeping it real and adjusting their price. But I just want to say this. They are, in fact, not keeping it real. And it's not about shrinkflation, but it is in fact about the price. The price of Bluebell ice cream has gone up exponentially. No, that's not true. I can't say exponentially. That's too much of a reach, but it's gone up a lot. When I first started buying Bluebell here in Texas, it was about $5 for this half a gallon. Now the average price is $9, so it's almost doubled since COVID, I would say, and that is not keeping it real. If it was keeping it real, this half gallon would be about $6.99, which is what it was, 2 years ago or so. But it's gone from $6.99 to $7.99 to $8.99. So it is, in fact, not keeping it real. Screw you, Bluebell, in my opinion. Don't change the size. I get it. There's integrity there, but there's not, because they're completely overcharging for fucking ice cream. And putting this still half a gallon here is just marketing. It's bullshit, as we'll find out pretty soon. This one made me visibly, I laughed when I saw it, because I just don't even understand the point of this. I guess they're going to be I don't know which company is going to start stocking these, but presumably all of them. Maybe next time you go to McDonald's or Burger King or whatever, you're going to get this half a mustard packet, which already a mustard packet is not enough. Like, one mustard packet is basically perfect, like for a hot dog, essentially. But for many people, one is not even enough. You need multiple mustard packets or ketchup packets. And now they're doing this. Like, I don't even know what this is for. Like, this wouldn't even be enough for a hot dog. This is a half a hot dog of mustard. Like, what are you putting mustard on that you need this little amount? This isn't even enough for a burger, or a sandwich. I don't get it. Why bother at this point is, in fact, the correct answer. I just don't even understand how this is supposed to work. I guess we're going to accept it. I mean, everybody's going to start getting these packets soon and just forget that packets used to be double the size and use 20 of them. That's the nature of it, I guess. Or what they're banking on is that you see these, you have to use 20 of them the one time you do it, and then after that you just say, fuck it, I don't care enough to have to open 20 packets just to get mustard on my sandwich. So that's the idea behind that. Mids, I don't know this company, so this is going to be a quick one. 32-ounce quart size. Oh, wait, no, this isn't going to be a quick one, because this one relates to the Bluebell, sorry. Proudly bragging about still quart size on the jar until they didn't. So that's my point. New look, same recipe, change the jar, change the packaging, blah, blah, blah. But they proudly said still quart size on their packaging for a long time until they didn't, which is exactly what's going to happen to Bluebell. Don't worry about it. Now, again, going off of food, Ryobi batteries. I think Ryobi is a Home Depot brand or a Lowe's brand. Let's see. I don't know if anybody says in here exactly. But the point is, the battery packs have gone up in price over the years when the battery technology has in fact gotten cheaper. So this guy's saying, I bought a 9-amp battery a while ago for $199. Now you can buy two for $299 now. And this is an 8-amp battery pack, retail $219, and then he has an old 9-amp, which he paid less for in the past. So essentially, they lowered it. So you can't get the 9-amp anymore. You have to get an 8-amp or a 2x4-amp battery. I don't know shit about batteries, by the way, but I know numbers. 9 is smaller than 8, and the price is higher than it was before. So again, terrible. And this is a shitty situation because you're locked into it, kind of. Like, if you have Ryobi tools, you have to use the battery packs. I have one myself, but I only have a trimmer and I have one battery, and that's it. Hopefully it lasts forever, but of course it won't, and I'll eventually have to buy another one, and it sucks. So that's just the nature of the game with batteries. They don't last forever, and they know that. So Oreos, I want to talk about this quickly. I think a lot of people have noticed this specifically over the last year. The cream in the Oreos is disappearing completely. This picture is not edited. This is a legit picture of Oreo straight out of the package. That's how much cream they're putting in a regular Oreo. When people say double stuffed Oreos are regular Oreos now, they're not lying. A double stuffed Oreo is essentially what a regular Oreo used to be. I personally don't. I actually like this ratio better. taste wise, because I actually like the cookies more than the cream, and I think Oreo thins are like really good, but not anymore. Like I haven't bought Oreos in a while because this is just unfucking comprehensible. Like you're sacrificing like the core of the product. It's Oreo. It's a staple. Everybody knows Oreos, so people notice when you shrink it, and it's complete bullshit, man. It's unbelievable. Just buy off-brand fucking Oreos because fuck them. Burger King must defend its Whopper size in court. Other fast food chains may follow. Somebody posted this 2 days ago, but the news story is actually from over a year ago. So this is kind of like a weird posting to even bring up, but I bring it up because your boy, who is doing the Subway litigation, also did this Burger King litigation last year, which I think got thrown out. And again, I wanted to shout him out, Anthony Russo. Thank you for at least taking up the cases that should be taken up and prosecuted. I want to take this moment again to shit on Hot Pockets. I have a whole video about how the Hot Pocket sleeves were taken out, but yeah, it's bullshit. Move on to this. Shrinkflation app. This is just a quick shout out because just for this guy, Shrinkflation Tracker. I don't know if he'll see this. He probably won't. But I appreciate that you're working on the app, and I hope it comes out because I would really like to see that. I understand that you have no time and money because I don't either. And if it never comes out, that's fine, but I hope it does, and I hope that becomes a thing that's popular. Now, Cliff Bars, we talked about them last week. They went from 6 to 5 in their regular size boxes, but now they have, in their 4-pack boxes, are now 3-packs. So you are buying 3 Cliff Bars, and this guy posted this because it's fucking hilarious. This is how they ship it to you. In the box that used to hold, I believe, 5 or 6, at least 4, now it's 3, in a just completely oversized box where they're rattling around because, they didn't bother changing the packaging because, I don't know, I guess they'll get to it down the line. It probably costs more money at the moment for them to shave down the cardboard box logistically. Like getting that changed through their company might cost them more money than just using the boxes they already have. So that's my guess, is they're going to keep using these boxes until they have to switch to something else. But I don't really know how much lower you can get than 3 bars. Like, is 2 Cliff Bars in a box even worth doing? Because I feel like 3 isn't. At the point you have 3 bars, just wrap them in plastic or something. Like, why are they in a box? Now, Downy load size math. This is about a fabric softener, which I don't use personally, and a lot of people don't recommend you use, so whatever. But I want to talk about it because it's so blatant. Downy fabric softener. This story pissed me off. That's why I wanted to talk about it. When I compared the jug at home, something caught my attention. It's not even about the grocery versus Sam's. The important part is this: the crazy number of loads the bottle claims I can get out of them. Now, we talked about this with the other laundry detergent, which they changed the number on. But this says the Sam's Club Downy jug is a bit bigger, but it boasts it can do 257 medium loads, while the grocery store Downy jug says it can do 190. Now, the difference in ounces between these is only 10 ounces. So how did they get from 257 medium loads to 190 loads is the question. And they both say medium loads. Look, they're identical. That's when I saw this picture, it just like triggered in my mind that this is something Anthony Russo should look into. It's utterly ridiculous that you have a product which is clearly lying. Like, this picture right here should be in court, clearly lying, straight up fraud about the amount of product that you're getting, because 10 ounces more apparently gives you 67 more loads, which the math just does not work out. Or whichever way you cut it, one of these has to be wrong, or in fact both of them, because when you read a little bit further in here, she went to the Downy website and read the actual recommended load for medium, which is 2 ounces. So if that is the, in fact, recommended dosage of this fabric softener, then as this person says, wouldn't I only get 75 medium loads from the Sam's jug and 70 from the grocery jug? Which is, I would say, a lot less than what is advertised. Some might say almost like I don't know, less than half of what it says it's giving you. It's insane. This somebody please like take this up. Some enterprising lawyer take this case up because there's no like margin of error that can explain this one. Like at least with the laundry detergent, you can kind of say that you use a little less than the line on the cup, but no, this one they literally have it. These two numbers with the fluid ounces just cannot work mathematically. There's a lie there. There's no way around it. So that's just that. Now this one's an interesting one. The picture disappeared, but this is probably going to ruin Jiffy mix forever. And I'm sorry to have to tell all of you that, but the Jiffy muffin mix has been ruined, and probably the cornbread mix, and probably everything, because they have in fact taken out the lard and made the product way worse for you. Okay, so the old one's on the left, new one's on the right. First three ingredients: wheat flour, sugar, lard. First ingredients on the new one: wheat flour, sugar, vegetable shortening, palm oil, soybean oil. So they've taken out the lard, which you could argue is bad for you, but they didn't replace it with something healthier. No, they replaced it with something even worse, which is just straight palm oil and soybean oil, which has raised the calories of the same serving from 280 to 340. The light is kind of blocking out like the daily recommended values, but you can see here that it's more saturated fat, more total fat, more cholesterol, more carbs, everything. It's pretty horrifying, actually. It's terrible that a company who has made a product the same for many, many years, like I don't know when the last time they changed it. I'm sure they change it without people noticing. But this is noticeable, and it's especially noticeable because it makes the product way more unhealthy, which is really disgusting. I mean, that's fucking disgusting. So fuck them, fuck Jiffy. Next, we have these cookies. This is like in Europe or something. Don't have much to say about this except the packaging is just utterly ridiculous. And I see this a lot. And this is what happens when, again, you don't want to adjust the box because that's going to cost you money to change the size of the box. That's another design. You have to pay somebody to design a new box and all that shit. So instead, you just take all the cookies out and put in little plastic dividers in the middle that look like this. And put it in the same size box, and then you have chocolate 40% chips on the front. Makes it seem like you're getting some kind of value, but it's just complete bullshit, and a lot of products do this. Anytime you pull out a product and you see all this empty space, you automatically know that you've been shrinkflated, which is nice. And to cap it off, before we get to the last article, dog food we're going to talk about. Now, this one I can't confirm. I tried to look it up. It was kind of hard to find. I saw a couple, but there were a couple pictures of 5-pound bags of Simply Nourish. So what I believe happened, and again, I can't confirm this because I don't buy dog food, and according to this guy, he bought a bag of dog food, or she, whatever, bought a bag of dog food, $27.99 for 5 pounds, and this was literally like 2 weeks ago. And today, they only have 4-pound bags. So the 5-pound bag is gone, and they're down to 4 pounds for $1 more, which, again, is ludicrous. Like, yeah, how do you raise the price $1 after you take a whole pound out of the product? Like, you couldn't at least leave the price the same? That's the thing that really blows my mind, is how fucking greedy they get, where they not only shrinkflate, but also raise the price at the same time. You can't just do one or the other. You have to fucking get both ways. Anyway, that's this week, essentially, in shrinkflation. That's basically the end of the video. If you just want to keep up with what's shrinkflating. But I wanted to go over this article, which appeared in the Wall Street Journal, which I'm not reading from the Wall Street Journal because I'm not paying for the Wall Street Journal. But thankfully, this person over here on this website has copy-pasted the article so we can look at it. And there's some very interesting things to talk about and go over in this article. So I'm going to kind of skim through it a little bit and talk about what's in it, but I really recommend that people read it. So and come here and read it, and don't go to Wall Street Journal because fuck them. The price of a bag of coconut cashew granola at Whole Foods jumped last year from $5.99 to $6.69. Why that happened defies simple explanation. The granola maker, Wild Way Foods, said the cost of making the cereal hasn't gone up that much, and that it isn't pocketing more profit. It jacked up the price, it said, in large part to offset fees that piled up from a little-known link in the supply chain, grocery distributors. These were charges, or there were charges for processing grocery promotions, others for potential spoilage, and still more related to alleged shipping glitches. Rising prices have vexed consumers and drawn scrutiny. George Milton, who runs a hot sauce business in Austin, Texas, said consumers are frustrated because it is not clear to them why food prices are so high. There's a fly in here. He adds, is that price gouging? I have no idea. Nobody does. Big food companies have increased prices in recent years on everything from cereal, blah, blah, blah. We all know that. This is the important part that I honestly really didn't know when I worked at Walmart. Distributors are the middlemen of the grocery, but I mean, I knew they existed, but I didn't know all this. They buy products from food makers, many of them too small to run their own distribution networks, so like the small indie food labels, then store, sell, and ship them to supermarkets. So they're the middleman. A small number of them, including KEHE distributors, CNS, and United Natural Foods, or UNFI, sell to grocery stores nationwide. When Milton started his hot sauce business 12 years ago, he delivered the condiment himself by truck, dropping boxes at the back door of local food co-ops in exchange for a check. So it started out simple business. He would just drop off the food at the local grocery stores and get paid for the food, for the hot sauce. Simple. These days, the chief executive relies on national distributors to ship his product, a process he said is riddled with obscure costs that make it hard to know what, if anything, he'll be paid. That's a really tough way to run a business, but what's the alternative? That I UPS it from one place to another? Which is true. Fees and other charges levied on food makers, such as for later partial shipments, have long been a part of the grocery business. Grocers impose many of their own fees for things like promotion and shelf space, which distributors pass on to food companies. Distributors charge extra for processing those fees and levy others themselves. So this is the important part, and I guess this will lay it out a little bit. Launching a new flavor for an existing product, you have to pay a fee for that. Running a promotion at retail, distributors charge for that too. If distributors buy too much of a product and it expires, they can deduct spoilage fees, but if makers shorten order, then distributors can ding them for doing that. Many smaller food companies complain that they're being gouged and that fees and other charges in the stream from distributors have forced them to raise their prices to stay in business. This is an important thing that I honestly, I'll be honest, didn't really cross my mind, which is why I wanted to talk about it. Really important for like smaller food companies. This is why you don't see a lot of innovation and a lot of different products at food markets from smaller companies, is because it's almost impossible to get into a grocery store space without a lot of money. That's why the products are mostly from giant corporations, as you can see, because distributors in this case are nickel and diming these small companies so much to get them featured in national grocery stores, which the only way these companies can get featured in national grocery stores is through these distributors, because as will be explained a little bit in the article later, these companies work with distributors. Like, even if I had my own hot sauce, I can't go to fucking Sam Walton and be like, hey, stock my hot sauce. It doesn't work that way. I have to go to a distributor. It's the only way. The distributors are the middleman, and they are the go-to. They say yes or no. There is no way to get around it in a lot of cases. Now, this is where it gets a little bit interesting, because distributors are getting a little bit of a defense in this piece. But honestly, like when you read between the lines, it seems like distributors are fucking assholes. And of course, the grocery stores are also assholes. And the person getting fucked besides the end consumer is the smaller companies making smaller products, like the hot sauce guy. He gets fucked over. But mainly it's consumers who get fucked over by higher prices. And this is going to explain why there are a little bit higher prices, and this is very interesting. Distributors often operate on razor-thin profit margins with limited ability to offset operating costs. Food executives said grocers have enormous power to dictate terms with distributors, and that small companies can be naive about the cost involved in building a brand and getting it to store shelves. Now, when anybody says somebody can be naive, that means that they're trying to fucking swindle you. But let's move on. The situation reflects a struggle for profit throughout the grocery sector. Big food manufacturers that account for the bulk of sales have pushed through hefty price increases and notched some of their biggest profits in years, which is true. This is adding pressure on grocery chains to find other ways to keep grocery bills from rising too much, which I don't see. What pressure? They haven't fucking done anything. The national distributors handle tens of billions of dollars worth of packaged food each year. They are a key route to the grocery shelf for thousands of small food makers and provide much of the merchandise found in independent grocers. Bigger chains buy most of their foods directly, though many also rely on distributors, especially with the latest organic, natural, or specialty brands. So as they're saying, bigger chains may buy their food directly from like bigger companies, but for smaller food makers, this is the way to go. So this guy, who is a distributor, has worked for both manufacturers and distributors, says it's almost impossible to make money as a distributor, which is not true. I'm going to stop here. So this guy is talking about the packaging and stopping there. There is a little bit more to the article on the Wall Street Journal, which you can find it without going to the Wall Street Journal elsewhere if you want to read the rest. But the important part is it's basically infighting. So these distributors essentially are, fucking over the small companies by charging them crazy fees, like for spoilage and for shorting the orders. And sometimes these, a company might send out, a product that they're supposed to get paid $1,000 for this pallet of whatever, and they only get paid like $50 because, they say there was a shipping error, blah, blah, blah. And this has led to a whole industry, a whole new industry, right? This is what's is costing so much money. A whole industry of people who work for these smaller food companies to fight the distributor fees and to audit the distributor fees to get the fees back. And these small food companies say that they do it routinely and that like 20-something% of the fees are gotten back eventually, but it takes time. It takes a year, and they have to pay a specific person to do this kind of audit for the distributors. It all is completely fucking corrupt from the ground up. It's such a horrible system, just like, everything else in essentially capitalism, basically. What's happening is these people are, it's a revolving door kind of thing. So executives, as it says, this guy who's been on both sides, everybody is in on this scam at the higher level. The grocery stores and the distributors fight each other to make the big profits, but then the distributors make most of their profits by squeezing the little guys. All right, that's essentially what's happening here. Some people in this story, some distributors in the story, talk about how their businesses, they have slim lines or whatever, but the point of the matter is it's their policies that are causing these local businesses to have to pay more money and hire like representatives to specifically lobby for them against these distributors to get the fees back. It's just a crazy system essentially designed to cost these small food makers money. That's it. That's all it is. So any of these, that's why I don't want anybody to get mad at any like indie food label, but you rarely ever see them because, as you can see, the cost of actually getting to the grocery shelf is ridiculous. So that's why I want to talk about this very interesting article that you can read on the Wall Street Journal, and I would suggest you read it not on the Wall Street Journal if you feel like it. But it gets into, there's a lot of great anecdotes that this story gets into. There's somebody who said they made like 25 cents at the end, and there's a guy who says that he shipped out something, I forgot what it was worth, like $500, and then he got a check for $2.50 at the end, and he was like, it's not even worth the fucking paper they printed it on. Everybody in this business is just fucking wasting time and money to get ahead. That's it. Which, that's why prices go up. So yeah, your cashew coconut granola, your bag of coconut cashew granola at Whole Foods that went from $5.99 to $6.69 went that way, not because it actually costs more to make the coconut cashew granola, but because a middleman is fucking with the money. So great. Hope everybody can take that information and absorb it and realize how fucked everything is. I don't know how you get around this. Like this, I mean, I understand the need for a middleman. I get it, but they're clearly corrupt. Like it's just there just needs to be regulation. There needs to be real regulation in the grocery business, and there's not. It's ridiculous, and that's that. So see you all next week with more stories of shrinkflation, because as you can see, in 1 week, we got so many that it's never going to end. So yeah, bye.